My dream and my passion is to become America's dermatologist that can practice everywhere.
It's not too bad. ¿Cuál es la parte que te molesta más?
My name is Dr. 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐞. I'm a board-certified dermatologist. I'm 39 years old. I live in Miami, Florida, and my income last year was around $900,000. My first job out of residency was at the Cleveland Clinic, Florida. And then after 3 years, I decided to become more independent and open my own practice. It was a shock for me and everyone else in the family, but it inspired me to know that I couldn't rely on one source. As comforting as it sometimes is to work for a big hospital system, a pandemic can happen at any time. The finances were not the driving factor. It was more of the ability to control my timetable, work when I wanted to, from where I wanted to. I remember my accountant telling me, but you're not going to have any patients, or you're not going to have a steady source of income, or even other physicians telling me that it was too hard and I would be better off just in a hospital with a more stable, secure job. And that actually just encouraged me more to work harder. It is pretty hard for doctors to not be tied down to a clinic or not be tied down to a hospital and work remotely from anywhere. So I said, okay, well, where can I work? How can I do this on a bigger scale? And I decided to apply for all the licenses. I work in all 50 states, DC, Guam, the US Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico.
Ronald? Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming.
I wanted a bigger safety net. I wanted the real estate of where I was going to actually work in and practice in.
These do not look concerning. I'll take a closer look at these.
Those ones, yeah.
The number of employees we've had has fluctuated over the years. We have about 3 full-time, and then we have a lot of contractors, more than 20, I think. But I'm actually the only physician at the practice. My nationwide dermatology practice in 2024 brought in $5.2 million in revenue and about $2 million in profit. I have many different sources of income. I have a practice. I see a lot of patients. I also work for other practices, hospital systems, and I have rental properties as well.
And then each time.
Oh, we know we gotta go back to that. Give me 1 second. All right, so break down income stream. So first and foremost, let me just say this. Her father was a physician. She's a dermatologist. She started her own practice, 2020, after her father, stopped working. Let me just say, fathers are so important. I would argue that her father is a great reason why she's in the position that she's at right now. Her father was a physician. She followed, and maybe not in the same medical field that he was in, but ultimately in the end, that example is so key. And how we as parents, show our children how we move and the things that we do on a daily basis will ultimately impact them long term. So shout out to fathers right now, right? So she started her own practice and she took the risk. Again, she took the risk. She could have been working at a hospital. She could have took the security of working, in an institution to where she get a stable paycheck, but she didn't. She started her own practice and it has paid off tremendously. Now, the one thing that I want to touch on is she has multiple income streams. And I think that in the current climate that we live in now, what's important for us to know is that one income stream is probably not enough. It's probably not enough, right? For most people, you have this, you have some people that, make a ton of money and they can really live off that bread. But ultimately, in the end, most people need multiple streams of income. So, take that into consideration when you're looking at your situation and see, hey, how can I build my streams of income to where I can make money, by not working, right? So on her standpoint, she has, her business income, private practice, She has contract work on the side also. And then that last one, that rental income for rental properties, I think is amazing. Someone that, does rental properties, myself, me and my wife, we do rental properties. We make extra money on a rental side. And I think that passive income is amazing. And then we will continue to buy houses for our passive income long term. So taking consideration multiple streams of income, as well as, if you can get into real estate, I think that's awesome. Find another stream of income when it comes to your passive. It can't just all be active income. And if we don't know, active income is you're working for your money, right? Blood, sweat, equity, as they say. You working for it. Passive is you're not working for it. You sleep, you make money, right? You wake up, doesn't matter. You're not working for it actively. It's passively made, and you're making money on the side. So for her, I think the good thing right here from the income stream standpoint that she has multiple streams of income. And as you can see, when you total up those numbers, she's making a killing out here from an income perspective.
And I have rental properties as well.
And then each time it's just going to keep getting smaller, less painful.
I think I definitely work a lot more than I did at Cleveland Clinic. The difference is I control what time I start, I control what time I finish. The other unique thing about my practice is that we are open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I currently earn $15,000 a month from renting both properties. I was always taught that debt is a bad thing. I didn't take any loans out in opening my practice, and probably that's why it's so simple. Now a spa rents the majority of the building. I try to immerse myself into how to invest properly. And I also try to save for another pandemic, because of what my family went through and what we all went through.
Okay, let's look at the budget.
Years ago, I also have gotten.
Look at the budget. All right, so Anna's spending in April of this year. We got discretionary, 4,278. What is that? Beauty treatments, home essentials, Netflix, shopping. Jesus. All right, so we spending over $4,000 on some stuff. We got housing and utilities, $3,000. This looks like it's rent, transportation costs, which is Uber, car rentals, gas, $1,600 and something dollars. Travel, she budgets for travel, charitable donations, which is a tax write-off, by the way. That is a whole nother discussion, as it is. But if you take a look at that charitable donation aspect, she's budgeting for $1,000 a month. If you total that up to $12,000 a year, she's getting a tax benefit write-off for that charitable donation. That's just another little nugget, right? As you continue to make more money, you need to lower your tax burden. And it's very important that we understand how to lower our tax burden depending on where you are when it comes to your income. If you are in the 100,000 or more range, even if you're in the 70, 80, 90,000, if you are over the lower income tax perspective and you're being taxed at 18, 20 to 24% of your income, you need to consider taxable deductions. Let's just say that. How you get those taxable deductions is something that is a deeper dive conversation we can have on another live video, but it's important that you understand what the tax code is, because if you don't, then you're going to get trashed by the United States government, and they're going to take a lot of your money on a every check basis and then yearly when it comes to your taxes, right? So she budgets for charitable donations of $1,000. And then she has her food expense right there, right? So what I don't see is what she invests, like how much money she invests. We know that she has rental properties, so that's obvious. But she's making $15,000 just in her rental property only. That's not even taking into consideration her salary, her income. So what I want to see here is I want to see investments, and I want to see a big number because she's spending a lot. I want to see a much higher number from an investment standpoint um, than her spending, right? So sure, this is a situation where someone makes a lot of money, right? We're talking about $900,000 a year. How can you make that practical to your situation? Is still should be based on a 10, 20 to 25% threshold of how you should be investing your money, and how you ultimately need a budget. Regardless of how much money you make, you need a budget, and you need to be investing in this climate. You need to be investing at a minimum 10%, but you need to be in that 20 to 25% range. Um, that's the goal in the end, is to invest at least 20. But if you starting off and you want to just start somewhere, start with 10%.
I also have gotten just more modest as a physician. I like spending time with my family. Grandma's getting older. My parents are getting older. It's hard to do some day-to-day things on your own as a physician that works every single day, that has a practice as well. I pay about $3,000 in rent a month. I also subcontract certain family members whenever they do errands or any sort of task for me. I used to be terrible with money. I didn't know how to save. I didn't know how to take advantage of retirement accounts. Growing up in Miami, there's a lot of focus on materialism. I pretty much lived day by day and paycheck to paycheck. As a resident, you're also not paid very much. So you don't have a whole lot of opportunities to save. When I really started saving was when I read an article about the Wall Street Journal talking about Empower and different financial tools, but also really with the pandemic, realizing what had happened to my father. And I realized if I wanted that safety net, if I didn't want that happening to me, I had to build a bigger safety net, and I had to have savings. Most of my growth has been in the past 5 years, actually. I definitely want to take care of my family and really just saving so that I have the ability to make decisions when I want to on my own terms.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
I think it's hard to keep up this pace, especially as I get older.
Hey, Dad. How are you?
There are plans on scaling back. It is obviously one of the downsides of having so many licenses and having this be your primary business. It's hard to find a replica. I do want to say there are plans to hire more practitioners, at least in person in the office. I never want to retire, actually. I love working. You can probably tell. When a patient says, oh, you cured me and I was really struggling beforehand, that's what I live for.
So that was a good example of someone that makes a lot of money and what she does when it comes to her investments. And as you can see, it stated that she makes $900,000 a year. She has over $3 million worth of investments when it comes to real estate. She makes $15,000 just in rental income a month, right? And she is taking care of her mother and her grandmother, and it's group economics, and I think that's amazing, right? Oh, different cultures, they do group economics. Everyone lives in the same household, the family, the culture. That's amazing, right? A lot of times nowadays we like to just leave and be alone and be by ourselves, and that can put a lot of stress on one person or two people, to where group economics, to where you can live in a household with not just yourself but also your family, your grandmother, grandfather, your grandparents, grandchildren, your children, and whoever, right? That can be an additional set of income to put it all together to ultimately help the family as a whole, right? So that's awesome. What I want to take in consideration in this situation, her situation, is that she stated that she doesn't want to work this much, where she works a lot. I mean, we're talking about traveling to different states. She does telehealth appointments with different people. She has her practice. She makes contracting income. She does a lot of work, and that can take a toll on a person over a long period of time, right? But that is the cost of being in her situation. If you want to make that $1 million a year, if you want to be a millionaire when it comes to your assets, like, you got to work. That's the requirement. And what I would say is sacrifice 7 to 10 years of your life. Sacrifice 7 to 10 years of your life to make the money, to make the sacrifices, to lower your expenses, to invest money every day, every week, every time you get paid, every month, every year. Build, secure your future. And in the end, you will live a much better life long term.